Welcome back to the 100X Challenge. We are looking at my Tasty Trade account here on the strategy side. Remember that weekly rent that we collected 2 days ago for $245? Well, we pretty much collected the entire thing. So we netted 240, and it's going to be 245, but we netted this entire thing in only 2 days. Pretty damn amazing. And we're going to actually resell a new weekly rent coming here soon. I want to use some of this money to strengthen this position down here. I'm not 100% comfortable with this 45 call on August 15th, so we're going to touch that. But let's look at our total here. We are down 1479. Tesla is just breaking my heart. But long term, I don't really care. Short term, we're down $600 total on this portfolio. So if we look over at the ledger here, you can see red weeks for Tesla, and then green mostly for strategy. They've actually done better. This is based on yesterday's close, so we've actually pumped pretty well today. So this will hopefully be better on my next video next week. But if we look at the balances here, you can see strategy, we're actually up 13%, outpacing MSTR by about double. And then Tesla here is down 5%, which is comparable to its current status, which is -3. So, not too bad. We have about an hour left before the market closes, and I need to go ahead and sell a new call against this. What I'm going to do is roll this out. I'm actually going to see if I can roll the underline first. So I want to strengthen this position just by a point. What I want to do is roll the strike down from 45 to 44. I'm just going to use $360 in order to do that. So the rent that I collected pretty much pays for that, the rent we collected 2 days ago. So I'm going to go ahead and push this through. So it's going to cost me $367 total with fees completed. And then what I'm going to do is take this 49 and then go ahead and move that out to next week. If we look at the plan for this week when it comes to the income, what I want to do here, I've got the 44 that I just rolled. So we've got this 44 call that expires in August. That's going to be my anchored base position in order to sell these new weekly calls. So I want to sell this 48.5 for next week. The price is right around 48.5. So this is at the money. So I'm going to collect about $550. But what I want to show you is what happens next week if the price goes south or north. And you can see that we have pretty much all this greenscape ahead of us as long as the price closes above 47.43. The price right now is actually 48.35 or 48.33. So we're going to profit as long as the price stays above that, which is absolutely amazing. So that's why I love doing this strategy, is because even if the price stays the same, we're going to collect about $360 of rent come next Friday. So let's go ahead and complete that trade. Here we have the 49. We're going to go ahead and set this to roll. We're going to roll the expiration out to 425. That's next week. We are also going to change the strike from 49 all the way to 48.5. So we're collecting $1.05 for a total of $525 credit. Let's see, it's going up a little bit. So let's go ahead and see if that can get through. While that is pending, I had a friend ask me how these covered calls work. And, because traditionally you need 100 shares of something in order to sell one covered call. And what we're doing is kind of cheating a little bit here. The best analogy that I could come up with is in Monopoly, the way that you make a ton of money when you have people go around the board is to buy houses and then turn that into a hotel and then have somebody land on one of the expensive properties like Boardwalk or Park Place. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing here, is I'm buying the hotel without actually paying for it. So imagine that I was taking a little bit of leverage and saying, okay, I will pay for those hotels on these expensive properties, but I'm only going to give you 1/5 of the money to cover it. And that's pretty much what we're doing. So we're selling this rent for hundreds of dollars per week, but we don't actually own 500 shares of IBIT. To own 500 shares of IBIT, you're talking $24,000, but we're doing that with only $5,000. So we put $5,100 into this anchored position, And now we're going to go ahead and sell it as if we owned 500 shares of IBIT. And we're doing that to maximize our weekly income. So hopefully that analogy helps you guys a little bit. So if we look at the account overall, we're actually doing pretty good. We're actually up $1,000 on strategy. So yeah, this account is doing fabulous. But let's go ahead and turn over to the Tesla account. And you can see prices right around 240. It's down this week by quite a bit. We sold, looking at the weekly rent, we sold the 260 call for 448 and we got it all. It's really worth absolutely zero now. So it's great, but our underlying call here is down 1,000. So we're down about 500 when you combine the two. And the reason why this strategy is so great is because you can see what happens when the price of your position goes down. You covered it, so you bought a little bit of insurance. In other words, you collected money. You get the insurance money up front. It's almost like you buy insurance, but they pay you for a claim that hasn't occurred yet, and then you get to keep that no matter what. So it's kind of strange, but that's another analogy that some people might be able to connect with. What I want to do, let me look at my cash. I would like to strengthen this position first, so I'm going to go ahead and roll this down. So the same thing that we just did for IBIT, we're going to do for Tesla. Every single time that I collect a little bit of rent here, I want to use that to strengthen this base position here because it's a little bit too aggressive for my comfort zone. And we need to try and get that down or roll it out further into the future. So for now, I'm going to roll the strikes down. Let's see how much it costs. I think my plan was to go 225. It's going to cost 770. Yeah, it should be no problem. So I like doing this, especially when the price goes down. You want to strengthen these positions and I'm going to use the rent money in order to do that. Now later when the price goes back up, I'll get all of that money back because my strike is now lower than it was before. After that does process, we're going to go ahead and roll out this 260. If you look at the plan here for Tesla, we're going to actually sell the 250. I might actually sell the 245. 245 is going to give us $1,000. The 250 is going to get us about $800. There are earnings next week. The reason why I'm going to go with 250 and not 245 or even 240 is because what happens is we start losing money if the price runs away. Let's say Tesla comes out with earnings next week and they just surprise to the upside and we go quickly to 280, then we're actually not going to make any money here. We'll break even. So by going to 250, it gives us a little chance to at least make $500 if the price goes way up, way fast. Now, our main positions are going to go up no matter what if the price goes up. So maybe I should go 245 and then just enjoy what happens with the main positions. So we're talking about 825 versus 1,000. I'm going to stick to 825. I'm more bullish than I am bearish on Tesla, but that's kind of how I roll. IBIT's done. Great. Come on, Tesla. Come on. We'll go 270. We'll go a little bit higher. There we go. Okay, our base position is now strengthened at 225 instead of 240. Now we're going to go ahead and roll that weekly rent out. So we're going to roll this expiration to April 25th. Taking about $8.20. I'm sorry. We're going to take in $827. Maybe we can get $830. Let's go ahead and just push it and see what happens. There we go. $830 collected and secured. We are now 225 on this underlying call position. This is going to be my dirty midterm rental, aka Park Place, and we're going to go ahead and sell that boardwalk and collect rent of $831 for 8 days. Now, will I be able to keep that come next Friday? That's what we're going to find out. I really don't know. I hope so. But you know what? I wouldn't mind if we get a good rebound here from Tesla. My great spread, my great put, my original positions are down about $1,000. But look, we just collected $1,000 right now. So that is going to help dramatically. And this underlying call position will do well if we go up. We even have a little room. If we go up to 250 exactly, we get to actually keep this 831 and all the positions go up as well. In the end, we want Tesla to go up. We don't want to just collect this 831 that we just sold. We want to start moving upward so that this great spread turns into the profit. This is the challenge. So we want to take $10,000, put them into 2 accounts, Tesla and Strategy being the anchored position here. First one to $1 million wins. I'm giving myself a goal of 10 years in order to complete this challenge. And just to recap, the entire strategy is based on being the house. The $10,000 that we started with on each account is precious to the house. We don't want to leak any premium in order to take upside bets. So we want to collect as much premium up front, and we are going to then use that in order to take upside bets, which is exactly what we've done. If you haven't watched the first video in this series, please go back to my very first video on YouTube and watch exactly how I lay out the initial portfolio and I go over the plan in detail. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. We're going to see where this goes, but I'm super happy with how both are going. I know that there's a big red number on that thumbnail, but it means absolutely nothing to me. What matters is the strategy working? And so far, I'm very happy. We're collecting tons of rent. We've actually upped the rent on the weekly basis by 4x since we started this. So collecting $831 is a great number. And these are growth accounts. The big challenge to both of these accounts, how do we collect the most rent in such a small portfolio amount? And that's what I find the most interesting part of this challenge is what's the maximum we can squeeze here? And once the markets do move into our direction, we'll see these spreads and puts really print, and that'll just come in time. So I'm very patient about that. One big question people might have is, well, what do we do with these positions later? What happens come January 16? Let's say we're in October or November and we're still at 240. How the heck do we deal with this 340 and 800? If we continue to collect these premiums week to week and the price is still right around this 240, 250 or even lower, we will absolutely strengthen the great spread. We'll lower this call and it'll be cheaper for us to do that as time moves on. And we may even get rid of this 800 or roll it down to 600 if it doesn't look like we're going to even come close to reaching that 800 that we sold for the great spread. I'll get into more about the details on these and how we plan on managing it. But for now, I'm super happy with collecting weekly rent, moving that weekly rent to strengthen my properties in order to collect more rent. And then we'll go ahead and strategize on how to deal with these long-term positions at another time. So that was rent day. Please come back on Tuesday to get a new video. I will go over how the portfolios are doing. We'll see how these markets react over the weekend. And go to mobypie.com to check out my website. Please keep in mind that none of this is going to be financial advice. Consider this challenge very experimental, so please do not copy trade, but learn and be curious. I think for me, I'm the most curious to see if I can actually make this challenge come true. So that is it for today. I will see you guys next week. Have a good weekend.